welcome back to Wild Patch Homestead. I got really lucky and scored a whole box of the red plums from our local fruit and veg place in the seconds area, so we're really lucky that anything that's starting to go bad or just before it goes bad they put it down in the back corner, and I have managed to preserve a lot of food from those seconds. So I have no idea how many's in the box, but it's a decent sized box and it was overflowing. I have washed them all, taken the bazillion stickers off of them, and now I'm just chopping them all up so that we can turn it into like a plum conserve. It's based off of a jam recipe, but without the amount of jam in it that you would normally put in a traditional jam recipe. I just feel like there's a lot of flavour already in the plums, and every time we do one with lots of sugar, you can't really taste the fruit. That's our opinion, that's like how my family feels anyway. So I still add a bit of sugar, so kind of, it doesn't totally set it, but it gives it, it's kind of like a syrup, I suppose. Like a syrup, that's probably the best way. But my kids aren't fussed, they still love putting it on their sandwiches and pancakes and things like that. So that's just what we do here. So any recipe you see with fruit is going to be pretty much the same. Just a bit of sugar. And it still looks like a lot of sugar. It's just one of those things. We are gonna be here a while. There's a lot of plums here, and I've already almost half filled my container. I don't know how many jars I have. I really should look at. I just got them because I was like $10. I've been looking for plums all season, and I honestly thought we were gonna go through this season without replenishing the plum jam, which Hudson, my 11-year-old, was a bit sad about. I mean, we have loads of other things, so it wasn't the end of the world, but it is one of his favourites. And so I do like to make it for him. You know, all the kids have got there's certain things that they enjoy, and it's nice to be able to put things up that you know that they're going to like. But at the same time, I'm not spending $5 a kilo, which is what they've pretty much been this whole season. I'm just not doing that. One day we will have a plum tree. We have a plum tree, but because we're moving from here, somebody else is going to enjoy those plums because it's still only like a sapling. One day we will have our own plum tree and we will have an abundance, like too many plums. Enough plums to share with our friends and family. And so I just can't bring myself to spend a fortune on fruit that's like, it's not even organic fruit, it's just all been sprayed. Like, I've washed this. It will never be enough, you know. These are pretty good. I'm pretty happy with these. There's not really too many bad spots, and honestly I picked them up Wednesday and today's Friday, so I covered them with a towel because I didn't have enough room in the fridge, just so the sun and stuff wasn't hitting straight on them, and they've done well. I think I've only lost, there was like 3 that had like significant bad patches that I was like, I think we'll call those ones. I have enough here that I don't need to worry. So good. And they're so juicy, they're lovely. But yeah, I get really excited about putting food up on the shelf. I think, you know, food that my family enjoy just fills my cup up, you know? So I'll do this. This will take up quite a bit of my time. It's already almost 1:30, but it's worked out quite well. I'm gonna do a video on making aloe vera soap. Now I've never done it, but my mum was pulling out her aloe vera plants yesterday because they just, they really take over, and they were smothering out the base of her rosemary bush and that was dying. So I've taken them and I've planted a couple out, and I've also got a bucket here full of them sitting in water. I watched a video from Ellie's Everyday Soap Making. I think she's incredible, and she's taught me how to do soap making basically by watching her videos. And yeah, so I did a quick Google and saw that she had a video on that, which I've never seen before, and that's what we're gonna try and do. So she said to go and cut them off, the fronds off. I don't really know what it is on an aloe vera, but I've done that, cut them off and popped them into a container of water, and then I'm going to blitz them up and freeze them. But it works really well because I was able to do that and then start on this, and then tomorrow I'll be able to do the soap. So I'll try and get that video out soon as well. Let's hope it goes to plan. Now I've said that because I've never tried this recipe before, and soap making is just one of those things where most of the time it goes absolutely fine, and then you try a different recipe and you're like, wow, what happened there? So that is the plan anyway. But I needed a bit of a rest day today, so this is perfect. We were out at my parents' property yesterday helping them clean up a bit and do some weeding and whatnot, which is a huge help to them, and it gets Caillou, my eldest, and I out of the house. Caillou is homeschooled, and so I like to do activities outside with him. Otherwise we're just stuck at home all the time, and although I really love being at home, I think I'm way more of a homebody than he is. I still think it's really good for us just to get outside. See, I'm outside a lot because I garden a lot, whereas he's not. He just kind of sticks to indoors, but he enjoys helping his grandparents too, so it's a win-win. But he is down the shed at the moment getting stuff ready to put a bicycle together for me so that we can go for bike rides down the river. I think that'd be really nice. I know I could use some exercise. I've just finished a job where I sat at a desk from like 8 till 5, and sometimes earlier and sometimes later, so my body is loving me moving, but I'm also a bit sore from yesterday. It's a bit of a shock to the system, I think, when it's been so long since actually doing anything. Holy dooly. I think we're honestly going to get so much jam out of this. This is great. Last year I made a barbecue plum sauce. It was going around all the food preservation groups and everyone was raving about it. I was not a fan of that. It was so strong with ginger, but it was spicy. The kids couldn't eat it. My husband enjoyed it, but he likes the heat from ginger. I like spicy stuff, but I don't really like spicy ginger stuff. And I think I still got a couple of jars there that I've got to use up in a stir fry or something. Ooh, that one's definitely a bit soft. Yeah, I won't be doing that again. I think I'll just use some all-force jam. I actually was thinking about doing, I think it's Worcestershire sauce with plums. But admittedly, that costs like $2 at the shops, and we don't eat it enough to preserve up a big batch of it. And so we didn't want to waste the plums. These are special plums. It's taken us all season to get hold of any of them, so try and make the best out of the situation. Okay, finally done. Let's get this on the scales. I'm gonna weigh it. I'm really curious to see how much this weighs. Just gonna dump it in. Oh my gosh. Oh no, it came up with an error. I'll just dump it back in and then we'll spoon it, I suppose. Oh. I can't believe that just happened. So heavy. It's actually not all going to cook in that one pot anyway. I can't believe how many I've got. That there says it's 8 litres. This is my best pot though, because it's a proper jam pan. I don't know what you really call it. That's what. What's it really called? I can't remember. Anyway. Oh, I really don't want to drop these. Please don't. No. Oh, do you know what I can do? Far out. This is messy. That's already at 1,800 grams, almost 2 kilos.
This thing's heavy.
That is already 2 kilos. I still have a whole chopping board full of chopped plums. We're gonna be here for a while, I reckon. Don't fall, don't fall. Okay. That's 42, 3, 3.7 kilos. So it gets an error when it gets to 4 kilos. I'd say there's 5, 6, 7, about, I'm going to say even 8 kilos, because that's still a lot that I just dumped in there. 7 to 8 kilos. That's a lot. Wish me luck. I've never done it this big of a batch before. If you have a look at a regular jam recipe, it is usually, say you've got 2 kilos of fruit, you're going to add 2 kilos of sugar. I just can't bring myself to do it. I've tried and I can't. So this is probably a kilo, roughly. I don't know, but I just sprinkle it on top. So it's a heavy sprinkle, but that's all I do. And then I'll taste it later on. I'll taste it. And if I think it needs more, I'll add it, but I've never needed more. And you know, the consistency of my jams and what we call a jam in our house, they're pretty good. Let me see if I've got one. Oh, see the fig one set. I did this, I think I recorded this actually and posted it. But that's it. And nowhere near enough sugar was added to that. So, oh, I will add lemon juice. Lemons have pectin in them. I actually don't know how much. I don't know how much oh, hang on, was it lemons? Maybe I'm forgetting. I don't know, I feel like it's lemons. Another part of me is saying crab apples. I'm thinking of growing a crab apple tree at the next place. Just for packaging. Okay, I'll grab the lemon juice, I'll get this stirred in. And here we go. I forgot to mention, the lemon juice means I don't have to add water. So most people will add water to the bottom to stop it burning to the base. But because these, fly. Because these plums are a bit older, they're really soft. And so I'm not going to add water anyway. It will just take longer to cool down, to be honest. Okay. And then we spill the sugar everywhere. Cooking is so messy. I'm not going to lie, the cleanup takes me a minute. That is really juicy. Let me bring you in and you can have a look. But look at all that moisture on top already. So I think this is actually going to take a bit to boil it out. Like it's going to be really juicy. I hope that worked and I wasn't shaking too much, sorry. Okay. So, I'm gonna get these cooking. I think last time I stick blended them, but I've got the masher here. I'm probably just gonna give it a really good mash and try and break it down as much as I can. And while that is coming up to a boil, I'm just gonna look at the jar situation. I don't really know what I have. So we're not at a boil yet, but I've decided to blitz it. It's what I did last time and that's how he really liked it. I'm seeing the skins peeling off and my son won't like that. So I'm gonna blend it. Now it is hot, so I'm having to be really careful. I'll bring you down so you can have a look. So because I blitzed it, it's going to get lots of bubbles, and while you're cooking it through, they're all going to come out. It's always normal to get a few bubbles, but this is excessive purely because I've blended it up. But the cooking process will remove them and get the air out of it, and I just scrape them off into a bowl. This is a good sign. It means it's getting really nice and hot. The other one is already at a rolling boil, which is actually good that they're different sizes because it means I can stagger it. So while this is still finishing off its nice boil, I can get the other one off. Now I have made jam, I have made syrups, I have made toffee. And it was only by trial and error was I able to get the consistency right. I kind of, like there's so many tricks and you do what works best for you. I just found I learnt the way the bubbles look and the consistency of the bubbles. That sounds so ridiculous to some people, but I don't know how else to explain it. That's just all I couldn't do it the other ways. My brain just, I don't know, there's like the plate in the freezer and anyway, you find what method works best for you. Yeah, I just find it changes. It's like the bubbles go from just bubbling to like gloopy bubbles. That's when I take it off. If I let it go for too much longer after that, it just turns to toffee. But that's only ever happened to me once. It was the first time I ever tried to make jam. So in fairness to me, that's not the worst. I'm gonna have to use some really big jars purely because I just don't have enough small ones. I'm gonna have to reuse like salsa jars and all sorts. Oh, I forgot to say I tasted it and it just tastes amazing. It's so sweet as it is. I really, just no need to add more sugar. I also want to show you, I've got this thermometer for making jam. So I'm going to dunk it in. You're meant to bring it up to, oh, this is more of like a, it's got Celsius, but I can't tell what it is. 220 Fahrenheit is like 109. Oh, just, I think it's just over 100, 110 maybe. And sometimes I've got to throw a lid on this just to get it to that point. And it won't, sometimes it doesn't quite get there. Like this is not quite getting there. And this is as high as this goes. So my other one is totally fine. This is such a large amount. They say not to double portions and stuff for proper jam because it won't work, or it won't set. Because you just can't get that temperature up high enough. And this is definitely not at the boil that I would normally call it good for. Well, that really is perfect. That's so good. Okay, I'm gonna call it because see how they're really gloopy? It reminds me of like a swamp. And they're still gonna keep going even with me cutting through this with the spoon. Plus it's all like starting to really build and congeal up here on the sides. I'm honestly happy if this batch turns out to be a syrup as well, but I don't think it will. I think it will at least partially set. We'll see. As it cools down, you can see like it starts to get like a film on it. So that when you move it, it kind of reminds me of soap making a bit. There's like a light trace. And so usually I know it's gonna set. Okay. Time to keep filling jars. So I've already done a couple. Oh, that's really, really hot. Let's not do that. Okay. So this is the first batch I had going, which is beautiful. This color is just stunning. So it's a 1/4 inch of head space. quick mix just to get the air bubbles out. I just wipe the rim, mainly the band on the flowers. So I like to try and reuse jars, especially for things like jams, because if they don't seal, and you can buy new lids, but if they don't seal, the kids are going to eat it up anyway, or I'll make a cake or something. Like, jams are really so versatile. I feel like it's one of those things that's just easy to use up. I mean, this is not even a big batch, this one here, and I've already filled up 4 jars. I had to get out my big jars just because I just really don't. Oh, there's so much of it. So this has measurements on the side. This is sitting at 4 litres. They're 1 litre each. So I might just need 2, even if I need like 2 and a bit. But let's get this jar finished. But I can already tell this consistency is just so much runnier. I wonder how this jar's going to turn out. It's like half and half. That's kind of cool. It's all an experiment. Alright, how did we go? So we've got, they're really hot, so bear with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 salsa jars, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 and a half jars. Keeping in mind, these are 1 litre jars. These are 500ml jars, I believe, the number 20s. Whew, that's a lot of plum jam. So let's get that into the water bath canner now. Alright. She's at a rolling boil. And unfortunately, I think I've forgotten to lift the handles up on the rack. Alright. What should we go in first? Let's do our small jars first, because we have more of them. See how many we can fit. I don't think I did do this many salsa jars when I made my mulberry jam, actually. I made heaps of mulberry jam that we're still enjoying. I actually don't know if I will need to do any jam next year, because we have a lot. There's like this perfect little spot down the side, so I'm going to put the little jelly jar in there. So that was all 7 salsa jars and 1 little ball jelly jar. Okay. That's not going to take long to come back up to a rolling boil at all. And then when it does, I'm going to chuck the timer on for 15 minutes. And then I will go from there, really. 6 jars. I reckon they'll all fit. If not, it doesn't matter. We can put one in the fridge. Or I'll probably be preserving something else that you can go in with tomorrow. Okay, alrighty, I'm going to clean up all this jam that's just splattered all over the white tiles. And while that's going, and I'll meet you back here when we're all done. Lid is off, so I'm gonna let it go for 5 minutes. What happened was the timer went off, I turned the gas off, waited 5 minutes. Now I've just taken that lid off. I'm gonna wait 5 more minutes and then I'm gonna pull those jars out up here and then put these ones in. Now these are still hot to touch, so they're fine to go into the hot canner. And then we'll get these on for 20 minutes. It's been another 5 minutes, so I'm just gonna grab that out now. Awesome, okay, they're looking really good. I've already had 1 pop and seal, so that's perfect. These ones are really obvious, like you'll hear it. You don't hear it with the fowlers, but I quite like hearing the little popping sounds as they go. So now I'm gonna get these in and get it back up to a rolling boil and put the timer on for 20 minutes. So actually it's covering the jars, it's just not, it's got to be an inch above the top of the jar. So I'm gonna get some water in there now and get that up and running. Just wanted to show the consistency. Oh, I just spilled it, but see, it's runny, but like it's not terrible. Great for sandwiches, really.